Hey guys, how you doing? This is Renan with Piece of Pie Learning, and today we're going to go over two examples on rates and how to solve them using unit conversions. Okay, so example one, and notice what I'm saying here, that this is a problem that goes from a rate to a rate. You're not going to fully understand it right now, but just keep that in mind, right? Example two will be from a unit to a unit. All right, let's do example one. On January 1st, 2014, NASA was set to launch their newest satellite into orbit. They predicted that the launch speed of their satellite needed to be exactly 161 kilometers per hour. So right there, that's your rate, right? And a quick way to identify a rate is that it compares two units. By unit, I mean like kilometers, hours, meters, whatever, right? If it compares two of them, that's your rate. And the way you write this would be 161 kilometers. The word per in this case would mean like division. So kilometers per 1 hour. And I highly recommend you do this as you read the problem. For it to escape the reach gravity and begin orbiting the Earth, rounding to the nearest hundredth. Please don't forget that. If you round incorrectly, you will get it wrong. What is the necessary launch speed in miles per minute? The final important thing to look at. Always pay attention to units, especially the units of the thing, of the quantity that they want you to find, right? Because that tells me right away, even if I'm completely lost on this problem, it tells me that I need to end up with miles over minutes, right? I need to end up with an answer that is in miles per minute. Another thing to know is if they give you a conversion factor, if they give you a conversion, you have to use it. You have to use it. So, okay, so starting with this rate, I'm gonna have to go and systematically convert it until I get to miles per minute. So the first thing I would do is deal with the hours. You can convert the kilometers first, or you can convert the hours first, but I'm gonna convert the hours just because. So, if you've taken chemistry and you remember chemistry and you weren't traumatized, in order to cancel out the hours down here, I need to have hours up here, right? Units, when they are diagonal from each other, will cancel each other out. It's the same way that, for example, if you had like x over 2 equals 8, right? And you wanted to solve for x, you would multiply by 2 to cancel these out. Right? Multiplication and division cancel each other out. So you can think of this in the same way, right? Right here, the hours is dividing. So to cancel it out, I need it to be on top, which means that it would be multiplying. If that's too complicated, just remember, diagonal. So to get rid of hours here, I immediately put hours up here. And then I'm like, okay, well, what do I want to end up in the bottom? Minutes. So I'm going to convert from hours to minutes. And then I consider, well, how many hours or how many minutes are in an hour? Well, that's 60 minutes in 1 hour. Let me erase this real quick, guys. Just remember that. So that was what? They want miles per minute. Okay, that's what we need, guys. Cool, so this already gets rid of hours. So as of right now, if I do the math, I'd be left with kilometers over minutes. But I'm not done yet. I need to get rid of that kilometer. So if there's a kilometer at the top, right here, I need to put a kilometer on the bottom, right? Because over here, it's diagonal, right? One's multiplying, one's dividing. That allows me to cancel those, boom. And then from kilometers, I need to convert it to miles, right? Because I need miles on top. So I'm gonna put miles. And then I look at the conversion factor, 1 and then 1.61. So I quickly look to see what units are left, and I see that there are miles on top and minutes on the bottom. And now I grab my calculator. I should have already done this, but it's all good, right? And you do 161 divided by 60, and then again divided by 1.61. That's my favorite way of doing it, right? You grab this number and you divide by each thing at the bottom one at a time. That's one way to do it. So the answer would be 1.666 repeated and then 7. They want you to round. This is the important part. Round to the nearest hundredth. By hundredth, what I do is that I put a 1 where the dot is, and there's 2 zeros in hundredth or 100. So they want you to round to the second decimal place. So that would be 1.67. That's your answer. Now, if the whole dividing thing was confusing to you, another way to do it would be to multiply the bottom first, right? So, multiply the top. So you'd get 161 miles, and then multiply everything on the bottom, right? So you'd be like 60 times 1.61, and you'd get 96.6 minutes, and then you would divide, right? And that would still give you the same answer. All right. Example 2, right? This is going to be slightly different than example 1. I want you to notice that in example 1, we started with a rate, comparing 2 units, and we ended with another rate, comparing 2 units. In example 2, you're going to notice that we're not going to start with a rate. So watch. During peak global warming periods, a glacier recedes at a constant rate. Well, they made it obvious there, right? That's your rate of 1.3 kilometers every year. So that's 1.3 kilometers every year. Rounding to the nearest month, approximately how many months, so they want months. See, everything I'm doing right now as I'm reading it, you guys, I highly recommend you do as well. It'll help save you time so you don't have to keep rereading the problem, right? If you just write it down, you can just look at what you wrote down and you know what to do. Approximately how many months will it take a glacier to recede a total of 120 miles? So they gave us 120 miles and this conversion factor. So for this kind of problem, where one of the things they give you is just 1 unit, right? You see how this is just miles? And the answer you want to get is also just 1 unit, months. That's why I call it unit to unit. You're going to start this same little process that you learned in chemistry, but you're going to start with the single unit that they gave you. So in this case, 120 miles. You're just going to put that there. And you're going to set up this thing, the multiplying cascade, right? So because I have miles right there, immediately, I don't even think about what number goes where. I know that I need to cancel it, so I'm going to immediately put miles at the bottom. And then I look around my word problem and I find where else do I see miles? And right here, I see that 1 kilometer equals 0.62 miles. So it's 0.62 miles and then 1 kilometer. Again, kilometers on top. I don't even think twice. I immediately put kilometer on bottom because I know I'm gonna need to cancel it out until I get to just months. So where do I see kilometer? Right here, right? Now, this is a little tricky, but you should know that you're allowed to flip the rate. So I can put the 1.3 kilometer at the bottom and then the 1 year at the top. Almost there, right? As of right now, I'm at years. I need to end up at months. And hopefully we all know that, so I'm gonna put year here and months here. I'm just gonna put an M. In 1 year, we have 12 months. Then you go, you grab your calculator, 120 times 12 divided by 0.62 divided by 1.3. Boom. I get 1,786.6005. Round to the nearest month. So that would be 1,787 months. Money in the bank. That's it, right? So just remember the difference. If you start with a rate, that's not how I wanted to say that. Just remember the difference. Sometimes you're going to get a problem where you start with a rate and you got to end with a rate. And other times you're going to get a problem where you're going to get a unit and you need to end with just 1 unit. It's the example 2 that I need you guys to pay close attention to because it's the one that people confuse the most. If you get this specific kind of problem, just remember, start with the 1 unit that they gave you. Do not start with the rate. Do not start with the rate. Do not start with the rate. All right, I made my point. So that's it, guys. Tune into the next few videos to see more examples of this because I'm sure you will need them. This is not an easy concept to get at first unless you balled out in chemistry, which most people don't. Peace.